Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Welcome to another episode of Madrasty Science Club. Here is Mariam Shref, and today I'll be your broadcaster for today's episode. So today we're having with us Julie, Yusuf, Tuta, Basil, and Saif. So please, can I ask you to introduce yourselves, and we will start with Julie.
Hi, I'm Jolie. I'm 9 years old and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Yusuf?
Hi, my name is Yusuf. I'm 14 and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Tuta?
Thank you. Hey, I'm Tuta. I'm 13 and I'm happy to be here.
Basil?
I'm Becky. I'm 10 years old and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. And Saif?
Hi, I'm Saif. I'm 14 years old and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So welcome again and thank you for joining us. So as usual, I'll be asking you some questions which will be today related to climate, and we'll be hearing from you your thoughts regarding the question being asked. So let's start. So Julie, can you define what is a climate?
Climate is the average measurements of temperature, wind, humidity, snow, and rain in a place over the course of years.
Exactly. So climate, it describes the weather conditions that are expected in a region at a particular time of the year. So Yusuf, can you explain what is a climate change?
Climate change is where the climate in an area either drastically changes or changes in little ways.
True. So the climate change, it refers to the long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. Saif, can you explain what does sea level tells us about climate change?
Could you repeat the question?
What does the sea level tells us about climate change?
Well, since the sea level is increasing, it tells us that the climate is getting warmer because ice at the caps are melting.
Exactly. And Tuta, can you list some causes of climate change?
Because of the extreme heat and the burning of forests.
And burning fossil fuel and other human activities. And Basil, can you tell us about some impacts of the global climate change?
When the global climate change changes, maybe like if a lot of things burn down, like forests, the animals lose homes, so it decreases and the animal population. So there isn't that much of animals. So there aren't that many things to pollinate and do anything anyway. So humans don't have that much to eat or drink, because the gas of the burn makes the water get polluted and the gas.
Yes, so some impacts of climate change include, as Saif said and Yusuf, increase in temperature, also warming, the rising of the sea level, the loss of species, so some species may get extinct, and it may also impose serious health risks. So moving to sea or ocean waves. So Yusuf, can you explain what is the ocean wave?
Okay, so an ocean wave is caused by energy passing through the water. So I can give an example. Whenever there's a an earthquake that happens under the water, that is mainly the cause of tsunamis because of the mass amount of energy the earthquake would be releasing. And that energy would pass through the water and create a huge wave.
Julie, do you want to add something?
No.
Steve?
The tsunami that caused the most property damage was the Latuya Bay tsunami that occurred in Alaska in 1958.
Great, interesting fact. And Basil, do you have something to add?
Yes, waves are caused by the sun and the moon. The moon's gravity pulls the water up, and then makes waves. And winds can also cause that.
And Tuta, do you have something to add?
No, thanks.
Okay, so ocean waves are usually caused by wind moving across the surface of the water. So basically the friction between the air molecules and the water molecules causes energy to be transferred from the wind to the water, and this will cause the wind, the waves, ocean waves. So moving to the wind. So Basil, can you tell us what is wind?
Wind is a flow of air that's created when changes in temperature cause air to move from high to low pressure in areas.
Okay, thank you. So Saif, can you explain what causes a wind to blow?
So the wind blows when the sun heats air that is closer to the ground, which causes that air to rise. And then what replaces that air is cold air that's fallen from higher up in the atmosphere. And that warm air that rised is now taking the place of the cold air and cooling. So it becomes a vortex and causes wind.
Exactly. Yusuf, do you have something to add?
No, I don't have anything to add.
And Tuta?
No, thanks.
Okay, so wind is the natural movement of air or other gases relative to a planet's surface. So as Saif said, what causes the wind to blow is that the sun warms up the air, but it does so unevenly because the sun hits different parts of the earth at different angles. And because we have mountains and oceans, so some places gets warmer than others. So we have pockets of warm air and cold air. So when gases move from high pressure areas to low pressure areas, this movement of air is what makes the wind blow. Now moving to smoke. Julie, can you tell us what is a smoke?
Smoke is the visible black, gray, or white gases given off into the air by something that is burning.
Okay, thank you. And Basil, do you have something to add?
No, thanks.
Okay, so smoke is a visible collection of a variety of solid, liquid, and gas particles which are left unburned during the combustion process. So Tuta, can you tell us about some sources of smoke?
Well, smoke usually comes from burning of fossil fuels or pretty much burning of anything, almost anything.
Okay, thank you. So Yusuf, can you list other sources?
Okay, sure. I didn't exactly hear what Tuta said, so I'm sorry if I repeated anything. Factories emit smoke, fires emit smoke. Well, cigarettes emit smoke, but that's not really a really big amount of smoke that they emit. Stuff like pipes that people smoke. And there's many other things that emit smoke. I just can't think of any others.
Okay, these are more than enough. So fires, cooking devices, and cigarettes, and also, as Tuta said, combustion processes and burning fossil fuel. So moving to the ozone, Saif, can you explain what is ozone?
Well, the ozone's kind of like a layer of gases that surround the Earth, and it's mostly made up of nitrogen, and it has mostly nitrogen, but it has oxygen and carbon dioxide in it. And over the past few decades, a hole has been forming in the ozone over Antarctica.
Okay, thank you. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
No.
Okay, Julie, do you have something to add?
No.
Yusuf?
Well, okay, I can add one thing. So the ozone layer absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation, which is why the hole that's been forming over Antarctica has caused a lot of problems with ice melting and stuff, because the ultraviolet radiation can have direct contact with Antarctica and melt, glaciers, ice caps, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you. So you all defined what is the ozone layer. So it's the region of the Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. And it's important because it provides us with important protection from the rays of the sun. But what is an ozone? An ozone is a highly reactive gas that is composed of 3 oxygen atoms, so O3. And it's both a natural and a man-made product that occurs in the Earth's upper atmosphere.
Can I add something?
Yes, sure, go ahead.
The ozone layer has the ozone hole because of VOCs that are made from heaters and fridges and freezers and like these mechanics. Anyway, they're the ones that break down the ozone.
Okay, thank you, Basil. Now moving to clouds. Julie, can you explain what are clouds and how they are formed?
A cloud it's made up of millions of tiny water droplets or ice crystals floating together in the air.
Okay, thank you, Julie. And Basil or Tuta, do you have something to add?
Yeah, yes. Cloud is an aerosol and it's vaporized air.
Okay, thank you. And Saif, do you have something to add?
Can I add something after this?
Yes, sure.
The 4 types of clouds are the cirroform, the cumuloform, the stratoform, and the nimboform.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And Basil, were you saying something?
Can I add something?
Yes, sure.
Clouds are made when water evaporates, then when the air condensates and becomes clouds.
Okay, thank you. And Basil, do you have something to add?
No, thanks.
Okay, so great. So clouds, they are created when water vapor and invisible gas turns into liquid water droplets. And now moving to rain. So Yusuf, can you explain what causes rain to fall?
Yes. So whenever water evaporates from the ground and forms clouds, those clouds have the water droplets inside them. And whenever those clouds get full, they release the water droplets as rain.
Okay, thank you. And Saif, do you have something to add?
Cumulonimbus clouds are the main producers of rain due to their altitude and their density of water.
Okay, interesting. And Julie, do you have something to add?
No.
Okay, so what causes rain to fall is that clouds are made up of tiny water droplets. So when these droplets grow, they eventually become too heavy to stay suspended in the sky and they fall to the ground as rain. And moving to the solar,
So can I add something before you move on to solar?
yes, of course.
Rain clouds appear gray because they're actually white, but the part that we look at, which is the bottom of it, is gray because the sunlight stain. Not all the sunlight reaches the bottom part, so it appears gray to us. But it's not black because none.
Okay, thank you, Basil. Now moving to the solar. So Julie, can you tell us what is the solar?
The solar is the sun, and the sun is the star in the middle of our solar system. The Earth and other planets revolve around it and receive heat and light from it.
Okay, thank you. Yusuf, do you have something to add?
Sure. So the sun is a nearly perfect ball of hot plasma heated to incandescence by nuclear fusion reactions in its core.
Okay, thank you. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
Yeah, well, they call it solar because in old times they used to call the sun sol, so they called it solar since it's from the sun.
Okay, thank you. And Saif?
On Earth, many Earth systems rely on the sun, such as the wind system, the water system, and photosynthesis for plants, which is the source of all nutrients.
Okay, thank you. And Basil, what is solar energy?
Solar energy is the energy from the sun. So you use it with solar panels so you can make energy.
Great, thank you. So yes, solar energy is any type of energy generated by the sun. Now moving to tornadoes. So Julie, what is a tornado?
A tornado is a violent rotating column of air extending from a thunderstorm to the ground.
Okay, thank you. And Yusuf?
Okay, so a tornado forms from a large thunderstorm. Inside these thunder clouds, warm, humid air rises while cool air falls, along with rain or hail. These conditions can cause the spinning air currents inside the cloud. And although the spinning currents start out horizontal, they can turn vertical and drop down from the cloud, becoming a tornado.
Okay, excellent explanation. And moving to Tuta, do you have something to add?
Yeah, the biggest tornado ever was it was in March 18, 1925, and it's called the Tri-States tornado.
Okay, interesting fact. And Saif, do you have something to add?
So in the city I live in, Lubbock, in 1970, a 5 tornado hit, and it was the costliest tornado, like money-wise, in U.S. history up to the date.
So, Saif, do you know about how many tornadoes occur in the U.S. each year?
I mean, like across the entire U.S.
Yes, on average.
Hundreds up to 1,000, probably.
Yes, exactly. So about 1,200 tornadoes hit the U.S. yearly. And does someone know how long can a tornado last, or how long is a tornado usually on the ground?
Well, if your tornado is more intense, then it'll dissipate faster. So like really, really strong tornadoes will maybe go in like 30 minutes to an hour, but some can last longer than that.
Yes, exactly. So the time can range from an instant to several hours, but on average, it's 5 minutes. Okay, so moving to hurricanes. Basil, can you explain what is a hurricane and how is it formed?
A hurricane is formed when lots of water turn together to make like as if it's a tornado, but made out of water, not air. And it has an eye. That's the part that doesn't have nor water nor fast moving water. It's just a normal part of normal water. So you won't get sucked in. But the eye is the most dangerous part because it slows you down.
Okay, great, thank you. And Julie, what are rain bands?
Rain bands they have large early bands of rain called rain bands. These bands can drop amounts of rainfall, causing flooding when the hurricane hits land.
Okay, thank you. And Saif, can you tell us what is the eye of a hurricane?
So the eye of the hurricane is the very center of the hurricane where no storm activity is going on, so it's clear, but the walls around the eye have the highest wind speeds in the hurricane.
Exactly. And Yusuf, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so hurricanes usually produce winds of 119 kilometers per hour, which is 74 miles per hour or higher.
Okay, great, thank you. So a hurricane is a large rotating storm with high-speed winds that form over warm waters in tropical areas. And an eye of a hurricane usually it's the center and where it's generally calm with no clouds. And finally, we have the barometer. So Tuta, can you define it or explain why do we use it?
Sure. A barometer is an instrument that's used to measure air pressure in a certain place.
Exactly. So it's a scientific instrument that is used to measure air pressure in a certain environment. So Yusuf, do you have anything to add?
No.
And Saif?
Barometers are used on airplanes in order to determine their altitude because different altitudes have different air pressure.
Great, thank you. So this was the last question for today. So have you all learned anything new today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you, Julie. Thank you, Saif. Thank you, Yusuf, Basil, and Tuta for joining us today. I hope you all learned something new and enjoyed the session. Now see you next week with another episode with a new topic. Bye.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.